right. I think it says we're streaming right now for some reason. It's not usually how it works, but okay, it's private right now. It's supercavitation, right?
Yeah.
Alright, it's recording us just right now, right? Just so you know. I don't think it's public. It should be public now. So right now, I think we're streaming. So
Okay.
time to I don't know. Usually they've changed the way YouTube does streams. I think we're streaming right now. It used to be that if you hit live, you weren't really live until you hit the go live button, but it seems like that is not the case anymore. Like literally since the last time I streamed, that has changed.
Right. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it used to be so on Twitch. That's how it is. So on Twitch, the way it is you once you hit your live, you're live. You know. It wasn't that way, which kind of made sense because, like, on YouTube, you're kind of recording a video live, sort of. All right. All right. So we're live. There should be people in the chat. Save. Yeah, if you're in the chat watching, please say so. That would be helpful. I am just, before we get started, posting this places. All right. That posted to Facebook. When I type medium, I start to type midrange, or medium green instead of midrange. That's quite funny.
Old reflexes are hard to...
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Noah's here. Hey, Noah. Happy to have you.
Okay, I have my hypergeometric calculator up.
All
Ready
right.
to go. All
right, yeah, we're about to, start calculating the greed from 0 to 100. How greedy am I? All right. Now here's gonna be the embarrassing part where I did not set up the stream correctly, and I have to set this up live. So close, so close. So close. Everyone's getting a little behind the scenes action, seeing how the juice is made, or whatever, however the phrase goes.
Now I have the the room where it happens playing in my head from Hamilton.
Is that, I've never seen Hamilton. Actually,
there's a line. There's a line about how the sausage gets made.
That is. All right. All right. We just went from 10 to 0. That's not good. Something seems to have happened. Ooh. All right. This needs to be separate. All right. All right, everyone. So, okay, now things are looking normal. Okay, so we have our hand. Can you see the hand? You cannot. I need to share my screen with you.
I can see the hand because I have the stream open in another tab.
Yeah, I'm going to get you actually seeing the screen. There. And of course that messed up other things, but that's my fault. Yeah, so Million, or I don't know if you want me to say your real name, but Million, we're doing TNT. It's the brew that is kind of meant for the current meta game. It's a little bit leaner. I should probably make sure there's nothing wrong with it while I'm here. So, am I missing like a Mox Amber or something? No, I'm not missing Mox Amber. This list is probably correct. So, all right. So now we're actually going to get started. So I'm going to hit the record button, start recording. All right. So we're officially doing Greedy Keeps. Hello, everyone. This is a very special live version of Greedy Keeps. I'm here with Supercavitation, or Super. Hello, Super. How you doing? Oh no, I can't hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you at all if you can hear me. Oh no. Yeah, it's medium. It's medium mid range, so less green, more mid range. All right. Super looks like Super's hopping back in. I'm going to disconnect. Enjoying the call. All right, friends. This is not good. Not good. Oh no, his mic broke. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Okay. Give me a second. I think I figured out why my computer was annoyed at me, so I'm going to deal with that. Sorry.
That's fine.
Just got to get everything pulled up.
That's fine.
Discord just doesn't like it when I shift over to other windows. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. You don't have. I'm sending you the video right now, so it should be good. Just so chat has the link. Here is the link to the deck list that we'll be talking about. Is there anything you need to do before we get started? I know you said you were working on something, but is it?
Just give me 1 second to pull up the hypergeometric calculator on my phone.
Sure.
And then I will be ready to go.
All right, how's it going, Hire? Happy to have you. I should probably hit stop recording because the recording got messed up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If Discord's.
What's that?
If Discord's going to get unhappy about my using other tabs, then I'll just use them on my phone. So.
Sure.
I have the.
So, Yu-Gi-Oh guy, we're playing medium mid-range, which is like medium green except a lot less green cards. So it's like you took the green out of the medium green. No Faber Elders, no Green Sun Zeniths. Whole Breacher's in there, Agent is in there. Mox Amber, less less hate, I'd say. We're still on.
Smothering Tithe is not, which was the main one that surprised me.
Yeah, well, that's like Hold Reacher, right? Like when you can just replace that effect with one that costs 3 mana.
Fair enough.
I think it's just a strict upgrade. So yeah, I guess that's something we could probably also do, but we want to do it separately. Oh, we haven't even started discussing the keeps yet, but yeah, this is an instant keep. Do you want to get started?
Oh, yeah.
Cooper?
Yeah, sure, I'm ready when you are.
All right, sweet. I'm going to hit the start record button. So, recording. All right, so everyone that we're recording at Greedy Keeps Live. I'm here with my friend Supercavitation. Hello, Super. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm good. We just had some technical trouble. If you were here watching the live stream, you probably know about it. So yeah, we're recording this episode live. We'll be interacting with the chat a little bit, and we'll be going through some keeps of a updated TNT list. So it's Thrasios and Tymna, calling it medium mid-range, because it's like medium green except with less green cards. No Seedborn Muse, no Smothering Tithe. It's a much more lean list. So, all right. So let's get started. I guess we have our first hand. Dovin's Veto, Watery Grave, Deathrite Shaman, Verdant Catacombs, Elves of Deep Shadow, Waterwild Grove, and a Mox Diamond. This hand's absurd, right? Like,
Yeah, that seems like a snap keep.
yeah. So
Like,
Dovin's
Try
Veto.
not to laugh too hard.
Yeah. I mean, so this is a Dovin's Veto on turn 2 with a Tymna in play on turn 2, because you're gonna have 5 mana, right? You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, right. That works out. You play 2 dorks. That's 2 mana. You'll have the Mox Diamond and 2 lands. So yeah, you'll have 5 mana on turn 2. You can play Tymna and hold up Dovin's Veto. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, and then you have 3 creatures in play to start getting your Tymna draws going.
Yeah. So snap keep. I mean, this is like this is why we're on dorks. This is why we're on all these good cards. So we'll see a fresh one.
Yeah.
Dark Confidant, Rhystic Study, Mox Amber, Windswept Heath, Verdant Catacombs, Abrupt Decay, Fierce Guardianship. I think this one's actually too slow, right?
Yeah, this is one of those ones where, like, I know it's called the Greedy Keeps, but I start questioning how greedy I want to get. Because this is kind of, if no one does anything crazy in the first 2 turns, Tim starts doing a lot of work very quickly.
Yeah, but I guess the problem for me is, like, I guess it is, like, this hand is pretty similar to having, like, a turn 1 dork, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just, like, over adapted to keeping those, like, acceleration hands. Like, this is very similar to a hand that has, like, a turn 1 dork into a Thrasios and then holds up interaction, and then on turn 3 plays a value engine, still holding up interaction. Because you can just play the Thrasios, play your Mox Amber, and then hold up the Fierce Guardianship. Yeah, I think
if the
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think if the Mox Amber were either a Mox Diamond or a Chrome Mox, I would keep. But as is, I don't think this is capable.
Yeah, I think it's Higher is in the chat saying that it's probably a keep. And someone's asking, do we try to think of a specific meta? I try to think of like just like a pretty diverse. We try to like imagine a different pods where you might be different. Like if there were, let's say you had a hand with a Null Rod in it, you might say, hey, this hand is not as good if there's 3 Yisan decks at the table. But generally, you're probably going to see a farm deck or some type of Turbo Nose deck. You're probably going to see maybe 2 of those, 1 or 2 of those, maybe a mid-range deck, maybe a stacks deck. And we might say like, hey, this hand's really bad if it's mostly farm or mostly stack. I will say, I think I'm not giving this hand enough credit. Hire's arguing it's a keep. I think I probably get greedier, but I definitely see the value. The Dark Confidant is like really dead, right? It's like it's a complete dead card. So is this like a good 6? I'd say this is probably a fair 6.
Yeah, if this were 6, I think I'd keep. The other thing is depending on turn order. Say, what's it? Say you've got one maybe more controlling deck, and then some kind of fast combo deck going after it. So say we're going third, and it goes control, combo, us. In that case, I think I might keep. Like,
Yeah.
even as a 7.
Yeah, you know,
Just 'cause-
if it was, let's say, like it was a like this hand can't really interact with Corvold at all. Like if you think of my Corvold
yeah,
list, it can get really deep into the combo turn without casting a non-creature spell. Like it can draw a lot of cards before it finally has to do that, and so you know, a Fierce Guardianship isn't as good. But maybe if it was like a, you know, if it was a traditional farm deck, I mean, the Fierce Guardianship counters Nas. That's all it has to do. So it's an interesting. And as Hire just said, it's still a turn 2 Thrasios into protection. It does a few feel slow. I think is what he's trying to say, which sucks. But I like that Dockside doesn't benefit from you as a player with this hand. It does benefit from you in that you're probably going to play the Mox Amber and the Ristic Study, but that's pretty slow. So
yeah.
I think we're going to mulligan this one.
No, I think.
And
Yeah,
see
I
it,
think I mull again, unless I think I can just get away with sitting there until this hand turns on.
Yeah, and it does turn on, right? The Ristic Study is super powerful. All right, Force of Will,
Yeah.
City of Brass, Bloom Tender, Windswept Heath, Finhorn Elves, Elves of Deep Shadow, Undergrowth Stadium. This one's like, this is like, I think that this is like a hand that used to be really good when you played medium green, because like you'd be like, all right, I have my turn 1 Finhorn Elves, turn 2 I play Bloom Tender, Elves of Deep Shadow, turn 3 I play Thrasios, hold up enough mana for an activation, feel good. Where now I feel like this hand is way too slow, even with the Force of Will, because you just can't even use it.
Yeah. If that Bloom Tender were, say, a blue card, then I would definitely evaluate this differently.
Or even if the Elves of Deep Shadow was like a ponder, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because then you could play the turn 2
Fair.
Bloom Tender into a turn 3 Thrasios with the Bloom Tender being up. But because you can't, I just think we throw this one back too.
Yeah. Even with the turn 2 Timna, it's not enough to keep it alive. Or even feed it.
Yeah. City of Brass, Veil of Summer, Tainted Pact, Vampire Tutor, Laboratory Maniac, Forced Negation, Noxious Survival. Is there 6? I'm feeling like we should have kept that first hand. I think Hire was right. I will say though, this does let you go. This does have interaction, and you can Vamp Tutor for like a Mana Crypt. So this isn't actually that bad. And you can also like, once you've Vamp Tutored for a Mana Crypt, you can Tainted Pact for like a land if you really need to. But you already have your 2-card combo in your hand, so you can actually probably. If you hit a land here, I actually think this hand's probably pretty good, right? Because, like, you Vamp Tutor for a mana source, probably a Mana Crypt. You play the Labman on turn 2. You try to Tainted Pact during, like, an end step with the Labman in play. And then you have Force Negation for backup. And then you can always Noxious Survival the Labman.
You don't have a blue card.
Yeah, if you draw into one. You also have the Veil of Summer, so this hand's actually kind of sick.
Yeah, it's got the one kind of very weak point, like if someone missteps a tutor.
Yeah, I think you. Like that. Yeah, you do have the Noxious Survival, so you can like, if you really have to. I think you throw back the Veil of Summer, and if you hit a fetch land, you can turn that fetch land into another fetch land with Noxious Survival.
Yeah. I definitely think this is a keep. It's just kind of awkward. Figuring out the lines here is a little weird.
I think you bottom the Veil of Summer and you try to Vamp Tutor for a Mana Crypt. And if you hit a land off the top, you're actually pretty well set up, because then you can play the Labman, and then then you can use the Veil of Summer as a cantrip with your Tainted Pact.
The other question: if you top deck a fetch turn 1. Do you still tutor for the Mana Crypt, or at that point? I
Yeah, I think
think I might. I
I
think
think
I might be tempted to go for Oracle.
no, I think I think you do get the mana crypt because if you end up getting interacted with, it still like is useful in playing your Thrasios and Tymna, and also like Labman is not even that bad to like just kind of force out to get Tymna draws. So I
Fair
think
point.
this is like a decent 6, but we kind of wish we kept our 7.
Yeah, I don't like leaving Labman for a turn cycle.
I don't mind it. I found that usually people don't pay attention to him at all. You really can get away. I think Labman's like, it's really interesting because Oracle's so good. People just don't care about Lab Maniac. Like they really let it sit. They don't really respect it enough. I think it might be because there's just a lot of people who didn't play when Labman was like the only option, or it's because Oracle's so good. But I found I'm really away with a lot when I have a Labman in play. I've seen people completely tap out with a Labman in play, and I just go, all right, end of turn console, I win. If you see a stacks deck at the table too, this is actually a really good hand. If there's like a stacks deck, because if they play like a rule of law, you can like kind of do the game plan where you like play your lab man out and then wait for a turn where everyone casts their spell and then use your tainted pack to like exile all but maybe let's say one card in your deck, and then you can kind of like win from there. So which I've done that many times with Labman. I think in this playstyle actually, like in this type of deck, Labman is actually like potentially more valuable just because you can play it out and then kind of like grind and play the game for a bit, and then once you get you're able to, you're just able to go for it and win the game right away. So I'm pretty high on
Fair
Labman.
enough. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a meta call.
Yeah,
I'm not used to being able to just assume I can leave a creature out for a turn cycle, especially if it's got a win condition stapled to it.
I think like
Um,
it's because people are playing so aggressively, like with their farm decks. You're able to uh, people don't pay enough attention to it. That's just my
yeah,
experience.
I might just be too used to my college meta.
That's fair.
That that was just kind of removal piles with stuff stapled to them.
All right, I probably bought a somewhere here, right? Maybe the Noxious
Oh yeah,
Revival,
for sure.
but I think we keep the Noxious Revival in case we get blown out.
Yeah, I think we keep the revival. The upside if we draw a fetch is so high, and we just don't have the mana
Yeah,
to keep Veil of Summer up.
yeah. All right. Fresh 7, Dovin's Veto Forest, Demonic Tutor, Wooded Foothills, Tropical Island, Rest in Peace, Thassa's Oracle. I don't like this one. There's no acceleration.
Yeah,
I think it's that
there's
simple,
no
right?
acceleration. There's just not a whole lot of grinding. I think the one point where I keep this hand is like, I don't know, if everybody's on graveyard stuff, and even then, I'm not sure I love it because you're just kind of slamming Rest in Peace and hoping.
Yeah, it's definitely very powerful, like as a card, Rest in Peace, but it's not enough to keep a
Yeah,
hand off of, at least in my experience. All right, second
yeah.
7.
No, just like, okay, so
So, Mystical Tutor,
this is nice.
Noble Hierarch, Imperial Seal, Force of Will, Overgrown Tomb, Delay, Underground Stadium. I feel really good about this hand. This feels
Oh
really,
yeah,
really strong. I think we
this
have a.
is a 7. Oh yeah,
Yeah, this is our second 7. I think this is a snap keep. Now, what we do here is actually kind of interesting. We have our A and B in our hand because we have Imp Seal and Mystical Tutor, so we can get Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation. But what we're probably going to do is tutor up like one of our few stacks pieces that we have, like our Rest in Peace um, or like Collector Oof, or maybe um, an Agent of Treachery, or maybe even like our Ad Nauseum. But we have a lot of options here for that, obviously. We also can just play a turn 2 Tymna if we think we have to. We have Force of Will backup, and we actually have 2
yeah,
tutors, so we can even exile the Mystical Tutor if we feel like we really have to play control this game, although I don't think that's really what we do. So,
yeah. No, this hand just kind of feels like it has a little bit of everything.
yeah, I think that's exactly what we want. We want an acceleration, a tutor, and a counterspell. And this does literally exactly that. So,
Yeah, the one point of concern is just that what's it? Our only point of blue and white mana is noble.
Yeah. I think that's fine, though. I think we get away with it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
especially with force to protect it. Yeah.
yeah, and one thing, I'm going to mess up the stream for a second while I look. Yeah, and one thing we can do here, which is actually kind of important, is we can, let me just make sure I got that right. Yep. We can actually Mystical Tutor for Dark Ritual, and then Imp Seal for Ad Nauseam. So that's like, or Imp Seal for Dark Ritual, and then Mystical Tutor for Ad Nauseam with Force of Will back. So that's also an option we have. This deck isn't fantastic at main phase Nausing, but it can probably win. We probably want a little bit more mana, but
That's also just that's not Naws until turn 3.
Yeah.
So if we're not guaranteed the win off Adnaz, I'm not sure I love the turbo Naws.
Yeah, I think it's probably better that we're a little bit disruptive here.
Yeah.
At least that's my initial thoughts. I think we can eventually Nas, but I'm not sure that we're supposed to go all in like that.
Yeah, no, I think it's like the lines you were laying out earlier. It's just one of those kind of, you look at where you are at the table, you look at what everyone else is playing, and then if this is the kind of game where we just need to go for grindy, whatever is slam the noble, go for Timna, protect it with force, protect it with either Deafening Silence, Rule of Law, Collector Roof, whatever it is we need. Or if it's the kind of game where we really just want to go for the Tainted Pact Thassa's Oracle, we can go for that if we need.
Yeah, and one other thing is that with Noble Hierarch, Timna's really strong. Being a 3/3 is like huge. That lets you get through a lot of people, and it makes it so the blockers are pretty much useless. And you're also gaining life, which is like pretty sick. So, yeah, this hand seems really strong. We can probably move on to the next one. Brash 7. Scalding Tarn, Lindor's Vault, Polluted Delta, Savannah, Forest, Prince of Teeth, Misty. No. We'll just go to second 7.
No way.
Elves of Deep Shadow, Guy's Cradle, Deathrite Shaman, Force of Negation, Command Tower, Mox Amber. I really like this hand. This is a really good hand.
I think I'm a little less high on it than you are, but I definitely still like the hand.
Yeah, I think so. One second. Let me do the math here. We can go turn 1 Dork, probably the Deathrite Shaman, and the Amber. Turn 2, play the Guy's Cradle. Play Thrasios. We'll go down and we'll tap that and that. Yeah, we can actually hold up Force Negation on turn 3 and a Thrasios activation, I think, right? Because the Deathrite Shaman will be tapped, the Command Tower will be tapped. Oh no, we can't hold up. We have to choose whether or not we want a Force Negation on turn 2 or a Gaia's Cradle. I think the answer is probably the Force Negation. Right?
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But that's
yeah,
still pretty
I
good.
might just be underrating Mox Amber at this point.
It's just a 2-mana rock.
Again, I'm kind of.
If you think
I'm still kind of used to the not being able to assume that a creature will stick if I need it to.
Yeah.
So I might just be outright underrating Mox Amber.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about it. Like on turn 2, where people are probably casting their Ad Nauseams, not their Pyroclasms. You know, it's like the mentality. Let's see what the chat thinks of this hand. No comments yet. Interesting. I think this is a good hand though. I might be wrong.
Yeah, no, I would definitely keep it. I'm a little less like.
That's fair.
I'm a little less snap keep.
That's fair.
But I would definitely wind up keeping this hand.
All right. Fresh 7. Soul Ring, Tainted Pact, Dovin's Veto, Carpet of Flowers, Misty Rainforest, Brainstorm, Collector Roof. I like this one. I will say though, it's kind of dependent on your carpet making mana, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, if we're going first, I don't think I keep this.
Yeah. Honestly, it is a little risky. I think your brainstorm's going to try to shuffle away that collector roof too. Because like you're kind of dependent on your soul ring here.
Yeah, though the problem is we don't have mana without cracking Misty already.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. All right, I think we can throw this one away. This is our first 7.
Depending on table position, but yeah. As a first 7, I think I'm likely to throw this one.
Cyclonic Rift, Breeding Pool, Wood of Foothills, Thassa's Oracle, Elves of Deep Shadow, Demonic Tutor. I like this a lot.
Oh yeah.
I think we actually
Especially
wait to play... I think we wait to play the Mystic Remora here. Because
yeah,
we have a turn 3 win with this hand. Right? Like if we go turn 1 Dork, turn 2 Mystic Remora, Demonic Tutor for Thassa's Demonic Consultation.
And then turn 3.
Turn 3 we pay for Mystic Remora. Then we Thassa's Oracle Consult win. That seems pretty good.
That is contingent on drawing...
On land.
It's contingent on drawing a land at some point, but we're also probably going to see 3 or 4 cards. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a safe...
I definitely like this hand.
Yeah. And I think the worst case scenario Go ahead.
I think turn 1 play comes back to the table position discussion we were just having. So if we're going first, I think we just slam Mystic Remora and run away with it. Or not, then yeah, we play the elves and then kind of just try to get that turn 3 going.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think that the turn 2 Mystic Remora is still pretty good. It's more likely to counter, but at the same time, like, if they're countering our Mystic Remora on turn 2, like, that probably means they won't have any interaction for a win on turn 3, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Just if I'm seated first at the table and I have Mystic Remora in my hand, I have a very hard time constructing a scenario in which I don't play it turn 1.
Yeah, that's fair. It really depends. It just really depends. It depends on how greedy my opponents are. The greedier they are, the more likely I am to play it, though. If I think they're going to play into it, I definitely play it.
Yeah, and honestly, unless they're all on just 100% dorks, even if it's not getting me cards, if it's just kind of slowing them down for a second while they try to get, while I can get moving, I'm entirely okay with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So,
yeah.
All right.
Mystic Remora is totally fine as a stacks piece, even if it's not actually a draw engine.
And the fact is that if they try to counter our consult and everything, and they try to interact with us on turn 3 when we try to go off, and then Mystic Remora is still in play, that's only beneficial to us. You know, they're still feeding us. You know, we're still happy to dig for interaction. So this is good. First seven. No Wander. I'm just gonna go to a second 7.
Yeah.
Nurturing Peatland, Command Tower, Mana Crypt, Hole Breacher, Gilded Drake, Phantasmal Image, Mox Diamond. Wow, this is insane.
Yeah.
I really like this.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
This. Yeah.
I don't even know what the line is here, but I love everything about this hand.
I think we just end step Hole Breacher. Honestly, I think we're just fine with that, and then we just play our Timna and attack. You know.
Yeah.
And if someone plays a turn 1, Gitrog or Corvold or something like that, we can always just steal it on turn 2, you know?
Yeah.
And if they're playing one of those cards, we're also just able to flash in our Hole Breacher in response, steal their stuff and get some treasures, which can help us deploy our Thrasios and our Timna, maybe?
Yeah, and we can get the, if we flash in Hole Breacher turn 1, we have turn 2 Timna to start drawing ourselves.
Yeah. And then if we hit a tutor or something, we can just tutor up a wheel. That's game.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I love this hand.
Hole Breach is insane, right?
I need to get my hands on one of those cards as soon as I can.
Yeah, I got one. I'm
Purely
very
for
happy.
scientific purposes.
All right. Did I not? Anna was telling me to cut Even Mind Sensor as calling me a boomer. I kind of like Even Mind Sensor in this deck. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'm a little biased, but all right.
I don't know. I feel like it's
I feel
meta.
like I feel like if we bluff having a 3-mana creature with flash, and it's like really like and we just always have it because we're playing 3 of them. It like makes our opponents play slower out of fear that we'll just get them.
Yeah, fair point.
The more often that we can reinforce the idea that our bluff is not a bluff, I feel like that's to our benefit in the long run. You know,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
we can,
no, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I forget which pro I'm quoting, but if they play like you always have it, you might as well always have it.
I like that. Cyclonic Rift, Elvish Mystic, Mental Misstep, Dispel, Underground Sea, Gilded Drake, Chain of Vapor. That ain't it.
Looks like the stream is paused on my end.
Oh, is it?
It says there we go. Okay. Okay, we're good.
All right. Okay. All right, back to so Silence, Windswept Heath, Boreal Druid, Mox Amber, Chrome Mox, Bloom Tender, Ristic Study. I think what we do here is we go. We can go turn 1, exile our Thrasios, our Bloom Tender to our Chrome Mox, Windswept Heath, getting a Trop. Then we can play Thrasios, Mox Amber into a Boreal Druid, and then on turn 2 we can play the Ristic Study with tons of mana up. The other option is we play a turn 1 Bloom Tender, and then on turn 2 we play Thrasios into Ristic Study. Those are both very powerful plays. I think we probably I think that's probably what we do. We can also go turn 1 Windswept Heath, Chrome Mox, exile and Boreal Druid into Mox Amber, turn 2. No, I think we do the turn 1 Bloom Tender, or we do turn 1 Thrasios.
What's the color balance on permanents in this deck?
It's very blue-green heavy.
Yeah, okay. Just trying to figure out how likely it was that Bloom Tender starts producing 3 or 4.
Well, once you have a Tymna out, it doesn't matter. But maybe we get a Tundra for that reason.
Yeah, that was the follow up, because if we're getting Trop, we have no way of casting
Tymna. Yeah.
Tymna.
And that lets us enable.
Actually, we have no way of casting Tymna. We don't have a way of casting Tymna either way.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
but we will have a Ristic
Study
on turn 2, so I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So, this hand's pretty sick.
Yeah, and again, if no one's giving us cards off Ristic, then I'll take the Sphere of Resistance and run.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. All right, let's call this one our last hand.
Sure.
Time Twister, Breeding Pool, Windswept Heath, Birds of Paradise, Carpet Flyers, Vampire Tutor. One thing I will say about this hand is Vampire Tutor can find Hole Breacher. So we do have like a 2-card combo here.
That was my thought.
So we can go turn 1 Carpet into Birds, turn 2 we have Tutor on our upkeep, hold up. We probably just like play Thrasios, and then we might play Thrasios, then play Vampire Tutor before our turn. Or on our turn, hold up a Thrasios activation plus Hole Breacher. I don't know, that is pretty awkward. It's hard to get to 6 mana.
Yeah. I guess it depends. If we can assume we're going to start getting a bunch of mana off Carpet real fast, then I would definitely try to turbo for that line.
There's a possibility.
We don't think we're going to get Carpet mana.
There's also a possibility we play the Vampire Tutor on turn 1 instead of the Birds, so that we can have a turn 2 Hole Breacher, and then turn 3 Twister. But that's like, with no disruption or anything, I feel like that's just not good. Maybe
Yeah,
we're
I
just.
don't know how well that.
I don't think I'm on Necropotence in this deck, but I probably should be. Am I on Necropotence? I'm not on Necropotence. I probably should be though. So that's a
Yeah,
fair comment. Is that we could go turn one carpet vamp for Necro. That's a good. I'm gonna add Necropotence right now. We're gonna cut that. We're gonna add Necropotence. Thank you, whoever said that. I will thank you specifically once I find you in the chat. Thank you, Subjectivity. Just did that. Yeah, we could also turn one carpet vamp for crypt and then wheel. But I'm not sure that it depends on our turn order.
yeah.
All right.
No, and especially if we have the 1/2, if we have the 1/2 Twister, Hull Breacher combo available, I would definitely go for it.
All right.
The question is, do we want to try to go slowly or do we want to run for it?
I don't think turn 3 is fast enough, so we might have to just turn 2 wheel. Problem is, if we turn 2 wheel, we can just play into someone else's Hull Breacher, you know?
Yeah. We wait to see, because if someone else is holding up Hull Breacher mana, then yeah, we probably don't. But if no one else is, I guess the kind of just dump all our mana on the board, and then Time Twister plan still works.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the Hull Breacher.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, that is that's the end of our greedy keeps. What do you think of TNT right now? Do you have any thoughts of TNT in the current meta?
I definitely need some more games to decide, but I like the way they're positioned. I like a lot of the new pieces they've gotten. I cannot wait to play with Opposition Agent. I cannot wait to get my butt kicked by Hull Breacher.
I think both of those cards are actually like a really big deal, right? Like the fact that Tymna can turn them into card advantage, the fact that Thrasios kind of like asks you to hold up mana during your opponent's turns, the fact that Dorks help you get to 3 mana really consistently, the fact Thrasios turns on your Mox Amber consistently. A lot of these things kind of like snowball together to make like a really grindy, disruptive, 4-color deck that kind of like plays Nas, plays Necropotence, tries to like tutor out card advantage engines. I think that's like a pretty powerful plan right now.
We were talking earlier about how the turbo decks have gotten some new tools and the meta's getting a little faster, and I think these are definitely going to give the 4-color grindy decks a lot of tools to kind of slow everything back down, play at their own pace.
Yeah, I think it's like a bit of a. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, only because like I was talking about this with Corvold the other day. We have Opposition Agent, but we don't play it as a stacks piece. We play it as like a game plan, where like in this deck it's a stacks piece, right? Like the fact that we get the card is cool, but the real powerful part is that like in Thrasios and Tymna, you kind of shut off people's tutors, which means that you have a huge advantage because you have like way better card advantage engines than they do. In Corvold, it's like, oh, we mold to 4. We're keeping a hand that's like a land, a dark ritual, and like a mana crypt, and we're just trying to like steal someone's tutor to get their Adnaz and then win. Like that's the entire plan of this.
So you're playing it as a Narcissus reversal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
yeah.
This deck, that's one of the cool parts of Opposition Agent is that it has a lot of play to it where you can kind of be like, oh, how do I want this card to position itself into my deck? But, some decks are just going to be using it differently,
Yeah.
So Corvold might get faster because it can mulligan more aggressively because it can kind of like piggyback onto other decks, kind of in the hands that has an Opposition Agent and rituals. It can just be like, instead of playing good cards, I'm just going to steal your cards, which is kind of appealing.
Does it replace Praetor's Grasp or just augment it?
It augments it because my Corvold list was on 2 win conditions, and now if you add Agent, it's like 3. Or maybe like if you combine Eternal Witness, which is also kind of a backup win condition, because you can like loop this. I don't know what you loop. You might just be able to loop spells to the point where it's really hard to lose, and then you just beat him with Corvold. But Agent
Okay, so the
Agent
big
lets you
question.
go like another thing you do with Agent is you can keep a hand that's like land, land, mana crypt, and then you like turn one Agent someone's Vamp Tutor, you steal their Thassa's Oracle, and then on your turn, I forgot to mention you also have Tana Pact in hand, and then you like go Tana Pact using your black mana, then using your mana crypt, you cast Thassa's Oracle, and you're like, oh, I
Yeah,
just stole your Thassa's Oracle. So that's another thing. Reason it's like, because that's not slowing down Corvold, that's speeding up Corvold. But Corvold's using Opposition Agent one way, this deck's using it a different way. So it's interesting.
what was it? Do you think Opposition Agent is going to be the card that finally makes Scheming Symmetry cEDH playable?
No.
Yeah,
If you like one mana sorceries with no text, Scheming Symmetry is that a lot of the time. So
yeah,
if you want to let your opponent tutor two cards when they have an agent opposition agent in play, Scheming Symmetry is pretty good. That's
yeah.
about it.
Was I think it was what was it? Callahan?
Yeah,
Somebody posted a video where they were talking about Opposition Agent and how just every time you read that card, it's all like Thassa's Oracle, where every time you read that card after the first one, there's just something else you missed that first time.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
it's a really cool card. It's backed up, of course, by Hole Breacher, which is similarly busted, where you're like, oh, that's really cool. It's like a Smother and Tithe in blue, and then you read it again, and you're like, oh wait, this is a Narset at instant speed. And you're like, wait,
and
this
it's
is
better
both.
because it gets you Timna draws and
Yeah, it's
like
really strong, and it's
has flash
and you can
what,
just
yeah,
cast it. Like you don't even need to like get them. Like I feel like
yeah,
at four
and they
mana
can't even like
at 4 mana and with a 3/1 body, Notion Thief has to it has to like draw you a card, you know. And
yeah,
of course, sometimes people are too greedy and they don't play it when they're supposed to because they just need to attack with a Timna creature, and Notion Thief is that. But with a 3/2 body and flash, I feel like you can legitimately just play Hole Breacher during someone's end step, untap, tutor up a wheel, go for it, or even just like play your Timna, attack with the 3/2, draw a card. If your opponent your
yeah,
opponents just now can't draw cards, or you get acceleration, which you can then use Thrasios to turn into cards, which is insane. So
yeah, and
seems
like
good.
we were on the comparison to Narset, but even what's it with Narset, like they can still grind out a Thrasios activation every turn, or they can opt on your end step or something like that, and this turns off everything.
Yeah, like can you imagine playing this against like a Niv Mizzet? You're just like, no, none of that.
As
None
someone
of
who just as someone who just built a Niv Mizzet deck, I mean it's casual, but still, um, no, and I'm a little uncomfortable thinking about the prospect.
Yeah, that's probably that's probably the correct response.
Yeah. Oh God.
I think Hull
Oh
Breacher
no.
should probably almost. Oh, this is a question from the chat from Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I think Hull Breacher should almost always be played at instant speed. I think Agent also. I don't see a lot of reasons. Actually, Hull Breacher you can play at sorcery speed if you have 6 mana and a Time Twister in your hand. That's when you do it. You play
Yeah.
Hull Breacher, then you play Time Twister, and you get there. But outside of that, I don't think there's ever really an incentive to play it at sorcery speed. It's just free information.
Yeah. I can't. Like most flash creatures, just like what's it? You don't usually play Snapcaster at sorcery speed
Yeah,
unless you want to play something. Um, it's just the upside of being able to cast a flash creature at instant speed is just so high that I don't see a whole lot of reason, pretty much ever, to play a flash creature sorcery speed unless you're about to follow through
yeah.
on the second half of a combo.
Well, the thing you get guys asking, well, what about a Timna? If they have a Timna out, you don't get to attack with it until you've untapped with it. So what you do is you just play it during the end step before your turn, and then you'll untap with it and be able to attack immediately. And Charles is right. If they have a Grand Abolishor out, you have to play it at sorcery speed. But if they go to play a Grand Abolishers, you just flash it in response. So
And even then, if it's if it's Grand Abolisher, so you can't play it the end step before your turn, then you can still play it the end step before Grand Abolisher. So like
yeah,
you don't play it on your turn because that just gives an extra
you
two
can't
players
cast spells
a chance to
during
sorcery speed interact.
I don't think you can. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Grand Abolisher just cuts them off. Cuts you off their turn.
Yeah.
What's it? If they're playing like City of Solitude, then you play it at sorcery speed.
Yeah. So yeah, I think both those cards are really
Solitude.
strong, and they're really good with the existing kind of like hate bearsy decks that exist. I think this deck's kind of one of them. If you're on Collector Roof, I
Yeah.
mean, this card's already like if you're playing Collector Roof, you're probably incentivized to play these cards too, right? Although Hull Breacher and Collector Roof is kind of a sad interaction. I do think it's really
honestly, I would play Collector Roof and Hull Breacher at the same time.
I am.
Like even if I can't activate the no, I meant like the same board state.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Even if you can't activate the treasures, just turning off the draw is such a powerful effect.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy you get both. And I think one thing that's like really cool to think about is like if you had Notion Thief and Smothering Tide, like those were the two like cards that kind of fulfilled these roles. Now you have 2-3 CMC cards that do the same thing. Like I feel like these are just straight upgrades. Like although Notion Thief and Agent are different effects, they are somewhat similar in that they're like kind of value plays that you can like play at instant speed to like get one of your opponents. I feel like they're just like really powerful upgrades that make like any deck that's going to play these cards more powerful, you know? And Yu-Gi-Oh! Guy, people do play their even mind sensors at their end step just to stick it. I think that's totally fair. I think you will do that with Agent when you have a Tymna in play. You'd be like, I just need this 3/2 body, and it's still a stacks piece, even if it doesn't trade for a creature or for a tutor. I mean.
Yeah, I think I have played Mind Sensor more often, as in end step, just slam a 2/1 flyer.
Especially because it has flying.
Than
like
I
that
have
evasion.
like as a. Yeah.
It's super powerful.
It's just absurd when Tymna is just one of the most powerful cards in the format.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I'm gonna call that a show. Thank you again, Super, for coming on. It was actually really great to have you.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and if people aren't aware, I announced this morning that we were going to do a live stream instead of a typical Greedy Keeps. If you're interested in doing something like this, if you want to be on the show, I give first dibs to patrons and people with webcams. So if you want to hop on the Discord, I just posted it in the chat. If you hop on there, next time I ask for someone to do a show with, just come down, DM me, and we can do something. And then in addition to that, if you are a patron, you get a little bit of a priority. So, yeah. Thanks again, Super. I'm really happy you were available.
Of course.
We've talked for a while about Magic and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy.
I'm just happy I happened to be taking a break right around the time to respond.
Yeah, sweet. All right. Have a nice night. Have a nice night, everyone who was able to come on and watch. Thanks again. And hope you have a nice one. See ya. Bye.
See ya.